Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today is the long-awaited Q&A video. It's definitely been a while since my birthday when I did the giveaway and you guys asked all of those questions, and now it's time to finally answer them. Alongside this, I'll also be slapping on a bunch of behind-the-scenes B-roll, a look into our studio, my desk, editing setup, all that jazz, the keyboard closet, also known as the supply closet, and that's interesting. And if there's questions you want to skip or anything, of course timestamps are in the timeline bar as well as down in the description box below. Any products, if I talk about any, will also be down there. Not sure if I will or will not be. Here we go, I got them all screenshotted on my phone here, and we're just gonna go through them pretty casually. This is unscripted, of course. I haven't looked at these questions in a very long time. And of course, I'll be taking some water breaks because filming is hard work. Question 1. Let's see, what's your vision for the channel? Is Twitch streaming and custom builds like Teja the direction, or sticking with information and reviews like Bad Seed Tech? So the vision for the channel is actually to be different. I am definitely considering branching out to other peripherals as well, including headphones, headsets, mice, things like that. So any PC peripheral pretty much I think will be encompassed by the channel eventually. That will also include things like, I don't know, it's hard. What I actually really want to do is go into a more of a productivity peripheral kind of space with battle stations for working individuals who work in their home but game as well. So I'm not really into the whole gaming thing, but I am into having a really nice desk space to work with good lighting, comfortable peripherals, comfy chairs, ergonomics, things like that. It is sort of in my background to care about that kind of stuff. But that's the vision. I will not be doing any Twitch streaming or live streaming on the YouTube. At least the Betty right now doesn't want to do that. And I do want to include different kinds of things on the channel as well as reviews. I definitely don't enjoy doing reviews all the time, although they're sort of fun. I get to try out new products. Any tips on how to store keyboards in a small apartment? Well, we did used to live in a small apartment, and you just have to work with whatever space you have. I would recommend buying either a bookshelf or some kind of shelving to store your keyboards. If not, we just threw them in the closet, and that's where they stayed. Like, out of sight, out of mind equals less stress. When typing, do you care more about acoustics or feel? Personally, I would say acoustics. If something doesn't sound good, then I sort of assume that it doesn't feel good either. It's definitely about sounds. I rarely have my headphones in, if ever. Usually it's just lo-fi music or some sort of ambient noise like that. Would you recommend getting a soldering iron or just doing hot swappable? I definitely recommend getting a soldering iron. Before I soldered, I was pretty much overwhelmed and intimidated by the idea of soldering something with the idea of messing something up. But you know, electronics are actually really persistent, and it's hard to mess it up. It's hard to break something. Alongside this, there's just a bunch of good tutorials on the internet, and you can buy something like what I did with the Keyhive Maypad, the numpad that I use on my desk, to practice soldering on. It's a through-hole design. I'll link it down in the description box below, as well as the soldering equipment that we use as well. It's really easy to use, really simple. I would say don't be intimidated by it. Hot swap is really easy to use as well, but eventually your pads are gonna fall off or something, and you'll have to solder them back on anyways. How do you sell all your keyboards? That's a really good question. What we used to do when we lived in Washington was I would take pictures of them, post them up on eBay, and then I would do a lot of that through my email, through eBay and all that stuff, and like either meet with people or whatever. And that's just not the way that we want to do it in the future. I was going to the post office way too much, packaging is a pain, and of course shipping costs are out of this world. So what we want to do now is either find a local tech flipper or something, or a up and coming local tech tuber or whatever, and just sell a lot of what we have for a discounted price so that they can take care of managing their profits by themselves. We're not in this to sell our stuff for a profit. I'm okay with taking half back, that's fine. It's just shipping and stuff and selling stuff, that's just not my thing, and it's really troublesome. So right now we're just sort of letting things pile up. It's not a great thing, but whatever. Since when did you like mechanical keyboards over typical keyboards? And what was your motivation for choosing a mechanical keyboard for everyday use? So I believe I made the switch from a membrane to mechanical in about 2013 or 14. I actually don't remember what I was using before my Razer Black Widow TE, and I have reviewed that on the channel. Yeah, I'll just like link it somewhere over here. It's a really old keyboard, and right now it's no longer with me because I had to give it away before moving here to Texas. But I mean, the thing was working amazingly. And the reason I made the switch was I was doing a lot of gaming at the time, and I thought, hey, I need something for gaming, right? Because it's better, right? But yeah, membranes are pretty annoying, especially when they get old and the rubber domes get stuck and they don't bounce back. And now I guess I'm just used to mechanical, and now I'm stuck here forever. Where do you think enthusiast keyboards are in terms of trend and popularity, and where do you think it's going? That's a really good one. In terms of trends, hot-swappable is definitely where I'm seeing it right now. Pretty much all of the fancy builds are available with a hot-swappable option. I see recolors of everything being a thing. Recolored stabilizers, recolored plates, recolored switches, just everything you can do to match the overall aesthetic of your keyboard. As for layouts and sizes, I would say either 65% or 75% is ruling the world right now, and probably for the next few months. Are any of your keyboard review models sent over by companies? That is a yes, and usually I disclaim it either in the description box, or I say thank you to blah for sending over this blah for review. That's just something the FTC says you should do, and personally I feel like if you get something for free, you should disclose that, because, well, you got it for free. You got no skin in the game, right? You have to get your insurance after 25? Yeah, so in America, when you turn 26, you're kicked off of your parents' insurance plans, and then you have to buy your own. So essentially I'm on my own insurance plan, and I'm not sure if it's a good one or a bad one. Do you have a job? That's a good question. How am I living without a job? Yes, I do have a job, and this is a complicated question because let's just start at the beginning. Anyways, so I'm an occupational therapist, and what I do is I work. Occupational therapists, also known as OT, can do many different things, but what I did was I worked in the school system for a school district, and I came to several different schools of different age groups. I work with the kiddos with special needs to either work on things like handwriting, problem solving, adjusting, being flexible, just a lot of things, fine motor, emotional support, things like that. I did that for about a year. And then we decided we were gonna move to a lower cost of living area, aka here. And now I'm sort of doing this digital marketing thing full time in our own business. And what this business is we own our website, switchandclick.com. We own our YouTube channel, sort of, not really, because YouTube owns it, but it does make money in its own way. So essentially, we're doing affiliate marketing. We want to be a high quality source of information for you guys, rather than seeing the low quality websites on the internet when you do a Google search for best blah blah blah, where the person doesn't have the product, they've never used it before, or they have really just read the description box or reviews on the internet and just plug that product for their own benefit. What we want to do is provide the highest quality, most straightforward, honest answers that you can find. And most of our products that we review, or our roundups, our best of lists, things like that, we have used the products, and it's just a more straightforward place to get information rather than going over to another website where they use stock photos and they don't have it. So that's what we do now. And I guess you can say YouTube is my full-time, but it's not really. There's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that maybe people don't think about. Do you think you will be still doing YouTube if your channel isn't as successful as it is now? Yes, absolutely. Even at around 100 subscribers, I believe we were still making, although a small amount of money, a decent amount of money. YouTube's one of those things where you sort of have to be dedicated in it for the long term. Yes, I believe we did see pretty fast growth. It's been about 9 months, almost 9 months working on the channel now, and it's grown pretty good. It's about 11,000 subscribers right now. It's really hard to differentiate how much money the YouTube makes versus how much money the website makes, because we didn't really separate those analytics from the beginning. But now it's sort of a mumbo jumbo, and it's sort of fun interacting with you guys, having our own community at the Discord server, also linked down below. So yeah, I would still be doing it. Maybe I would be getting less review samples and paying more for the products. Initially, we did buy all of our own products, and that is quite the investment. So I'm sort of glad people are sending us samples to review. How did you get into keyboards? I get that this question was probably the most asked question, so I'm gonna just go in depth with it. So what I was doing a long time ago in graduate school and things like that was that I was streaming a lot on Twitch. Initially I was doing Call of Duty, saw some growth with that, didn't really like it, and then I switched over to a MOBA called Heroes of the Storm, and that was really good, was seeing some decent viewership there. But my keyboard was just too loud, so I had to look into a different keyboard, a more quiet keyboard. So that's how I found the drop control. I liked that it was hot swappable and that it was sort of future-proof in a way. I was definitely a beginner to keyboards, so that's what I picked. It was sort of expensive. Jake sort of freaked when he found out it was about $200, and that was it. That was pretty much it. And then a few months later, we needed an idea to make a website over, and mechanical keyboards was what we decided on after a lot of brainstorming. What kind of computer do you use? I use Windows, and it's a computer that I made that I built in about 7 years ago. So I guess about 2013, 2014, I built it. It had very, very, very old parts. I was basically using a refurbished NVIDIA 660 Ti, so pretty old, and now it's replaced with like a AMD Radeon R or something. It's pretty old as well. So this winter, we're gonna upgrade our PCs as like gifts to ourselves, basically, because we need it for our business and we need it for what we do. Apart from content creator on YouTube, do you or your husband have another profession? Right now, no. But before June and before, he was a mechanical engineer and I was an occupational therapist. I guess we saw an opportunity to really go all in into our online business, and we did. How many keyboards do you have? 35? I don't really know. Do you buy the keyboards initially? Yes. We bought all the keyboards, all those Red Dragon reviews, all those top 10 under 100s, all those top 10 under 50. We bought all of those keyboards. Even now, we still buy some keyboards like the Razer Huntsman Mini. We bought the Realforce R2. We bought the Varmillo keyboard. I buy all of my customs. If something is given to us for free as a review sample, I disclose it. Are you planning to review more mice and headsets? Absolutely. We are definitely considering doing things alongside that route, but rather than the gaming route, I'm thinking more of the like productivity slash office route with the Logitech MX Masters or headphones, audiophile headphones, things like that. How many times have you decided to change your own keyboard after making a review? What features convince you to change? So very rarely do I actually switch over to a keyboard after a review. The few times that has happened is the Keychron K6, which is one of our absolute faves. Right now it's sitting in the corner because some of the pads fell off because we swapped the switches too many times. So I have to resolder those and fix that, but that's an easy fix. K6 was on my desk for a very, very long time. The Durgod Fusion with the Cherry MX silent switches on my desk for 3-ish weeks. It's pleasant to use, and then I got sick of that mushy feeling. And then after I built my KBD 75, that's pretty much been on my desk for a long time. A month and a half now, maybe. The KeyMove Shadow, I swap those with switches to test in and out a lot, so I use that a lot as well. Currently, we're testing the RealForce R2 as well as the Varmillo, and those so far have a lot of potential to be on our desks, but I still prefer my KBD 75, so it's definitely hard. It's hard convincing me to switch over to a keyboard that we review. And the features that caused me to change are hot swappability is a big one, being able to test switches, being able to lube them, mod them. I just preferred modded keyboards over soldered keyboards because it's just more pleasant to use and it's better sounding. This one is, how did you and your husband meet? Well, we met in college and we met at the gym. I think sophomore year or something, I decided to work out because I was playing a lot of ultimate frisbee. I was on the school team and I needed to jump higher. And they said, hey, you need to go squat. So therefore I did. And he started working out at around the same time, I suppose. So we met in the gym. We weren't dating. We didn't even start dating until after we graduated from college. So and it's been like that ever since. So now we're married. What is your favorite city? And after the pandemic, where do you plan to visit or vacation? Let's see. I think our favorite city is actually San Diego, California. We go to vacation there a lot, and it's sort of the place where we traveled first together on our very first long trip. So we just really love it there. We're both from California. I'm from SoCal, he's from NorCal. We clash a little bit about that sometimes. We want to go overseas after the pandemic, either to Argentina or Thailand, but right now during the pandemic, which we expect to last a little bit longer than we thought it would be, we'll probably visit Sedona, Arizona next year to go hiking and stuff. What's your opinion on custom mechanical keyboards being such an expensive hobby? So that's a good question, and I struggle with this a lot actually because, well, we review things. So I'm the kind of person where I don't really like waste. I like sustainability. I like really making the most out of something that you have. So I struggle with the fact that we go through technology so quickly because we review it and then we put it in the closet. That definitely goes against what makes part of me me, and we have conversations like that all the time. And keyboards are just a commodity. They don't mean much more than just stuff sometimes. So I think that when things are just commodities, they can get out of hand and get very expensive. I think the same thing is happening with PC parts or with cars or with all those other things. Sure, they're tools, but at the same time, there's also some kind of status associated with having a fancy graphics card, having a fancy car, having a fancy keyboard. And there's some exclusivity in it as well that really adds up to the status. It's okay that it's expensive. I don't really have any problem against that. I think the problem that I have with it is when people start spending a lot more money than they can actually afford to spend on a keyboard. It's like you already have one. You don't need to think about getting another one or getting a better one. I joke around that there's really no such thing as end game because there's always more, and that's true. There's always going to be the next best thing, the next better thing. Being that we make content about mechanical keyboards, it's really hard for me to just say, well, we can step away, because we can't. We sort of have to be in the trenches, finding the trends, noticing things and stuff like that. But if we weren't making content about this, then I would probably step away from the hobby and just stop looking at Geek Hack or metgroupbuys.com or different sites like that where you feel the urge or the need to buy more. Because I have a keyboard already and I like it a lot, so it's fine. It's just hard. It's definitely hard. Things can be expensive. It's whatever it is. Things can be fancy and exclusive and $1,000 or whatever. But in the end, there's definitely better things that you can spend your money on, and that's up to you. So the fact that it's expensive really isn't the keyboard's fault. It's more what we make up of it that makes it so expensive. I don't know if that made sense. What would you say is your favorite part about customizing and modding a keyboard? Do you have any that you like right off the bat and didn't want to customize at all? I would say my favorite part is probably modding the stabilizers. I think that makes the biggest difference for me. As for keyboards that I don't need modded at all, probably the Realforce R2. It sounds beautiful as it is, and it really doesn't need anything to change. Do you follow any mechanical keyboard channels? If so, which is your favorite? I would say my favorite is probably Brandon Taylor. I know he doesn't make a ton of mechanical keyboard content, but as for when he does, I really like what he does with his B-roll, his music selection, and his overall voice is just so soothing. It's like background music. What's the best way to get into mechanical keyboard reviewing? This is actually something that I want to make some videos over in a series, and that's because it's hard. It's a hard barrier of entry. You need a decent amount of capital or cash to start with. But if you already are a mechanical keyboard enthusiast and you already have a bunch of keyboards, then just start reviewing whatever you do have. Make sure the audio is good. You can use your phone to record, but the audio really matters here. And then record your A-roll like this, put some B-roll over it, slap it on there, add some transitions, and that's how you start. How we started is we bought a lot of keyboards, and I know that's probably the part that people don't want to hear is that, well, you need to spend money. And yeah, you do, because how else are you gonna get the volume of videos required to start showing companies that you have a following, that you have a good viewership, that your audience trusts you? Let's see, what do you think of ortholinear keyboards? Would you consider making a video of one in the future? I currently have no opinion on them because I haven't used them, but we do have a plank kit coming soon. I'm not sure when. I think Drop said they'll be delayed or whatever, but coming soon. I expect I will not like it, but we shall see. Does your family know about your keyboard hobby, and what do they think about it? My parents, friends, family, whatever, they sort of all know that we have this online business thing where we make content surrounding mechanical keyboards. They actually just think it's weird, and they are surprised that you can do that. And they honestly don't even know what mechanical keyboards are because they all use laptops or whatever. They don't really think anything about it. My mom initially thought that we were just spending a lot of money, but now she's fine. Aside from mechanical keyboards, are there any hobbies that you or your husband share that you might create content about? Yeah, I guess we like a lot of technology in general. I think that this channel will essentially revolve around the peripheral space around computers, and then his channel will be everything computer related and inside the computer, so essentially PC building and that side of things. As for hobbies, we really like going on walks, hiking. We dabbled in a lot of things like fishing, snowboarding, which I will never do again because I essentially broke my butt. We like rock climbing, but probably can't do that again because essentially I broke my foot doing that. I was out for several months. We dabble in musical instruments. I have a piano, he has a guitar. I'm not musically inclined in any way. We have a lot of hobbies. We're pretty much focused on the business usually for now. We read books, we bike, we take care of our animals. Do you guys have any pets? Yeah, so we have a 4-year-old long-haired Norwegian forest cat named Indy, and she's right here, always lays down in her rocking chair. And then we have an 8-year-old rescue dog. He's an Australian Shepherd named Gage, and he's super cuddly and we love them both to bits. While doing these videos, I understand there's a lot of money being spent on keyboards and accessories. How do you manage all of these expenses? Well, we're really frugal people, and while we were working our full-time jobs, we saved a lot of money because, well, we were eating pretty bland, boring foods, and we weren't doing much with our time, and saving money was pretty much our goal because we wanted financial freedom and time independence. So that's where we are at now. We control pretty much 100% of our time, and our finances are pretty much in check. At the previous location, what was the strange noise in the background? Cars driving by. We lived on the 3rd floor of an apartment complex that was right next to a really busy road. Not only that, it rains a lot in Washington, so that road was always wet, and so cars driving by is very noisy. Do you feel like you're locked in for the keyboard niche? Any plans to expand? What's next? It's a really good question, and that's something that we've been thinking a lot about recently. I don't like being locked into keyboards. It's really easy to get burned out on doing the same thing over and over. And yes, we do plan on branching out. That's in the process right now. We recently started Snazz Up Your Setup, which is something where we talk about battle stations, desk accessories, things that make your setup cooler. This upcoming one is on wire management, which I really enjoy doing because I'm that kind of person. Go ahead, judge me, whatever. I like being organized. And then we also have a bunch of ideas in the pipeline that are coming out. So yes, we do have a lot of keyboards, but I'm not going to just review all of them back to back to back. I'm going to place other kinds of things in between, and you know, if you don't like it, whatever. I'm going to do what I like doing, because when you create content, especially consistently for several months or even years down the line, you want to love what you do and you got to enjoy it. What's your background? What do you do for a living? What's your hobby? It would be nice to know more about you so we can consider your review analysis, keeping in mind your background. So I used to do a lot of gaming. I did a lot of Call of Duty on a console, and that was when I was streaming Call of Duty. That was fun. Then I switched to, well, I've always been a PC user, but then I went to PC for gaming, so I play MOBAs primarily. And then I streamed that, and then that was fun too, and it got less fun because it's so time consuming. Right now, I don't really do any gaming. I do a lot of typing. I'm an occupational therapist. I'm licensed and registered. I think a lot about ergonomics, posture, longevity, sustainability, and things like that as your body ages and grows older. I like lasting products that I know you buy once and you pretty much get a ton of use out of it. And I know a lot of products nowadays aren't really meant to last a long time, but that really matters to me. When I review products, I try to think about what kind of audience it would be good for. Personally, even if it's not good for me, I'm sure there's someone out there in the world that could benefit from the product. Like the SK71. Sure, that layout is absolutely not for me, but it could be for someone else. Or a long time ago when I reviewed the Kinesis Freestyle Pro. Definitely not for me, was terrible for me, but the things that make it not for me make it good for someone else. So in a way, I try to see the good and the bad of a product and try to think about who it's good for. How have you been staying productive during quarantine? I am self-proclaimed pretty much a productivity master. And the reason for that is in college, I don't know, I was a pretty good student. I did pretty good. I stay on track with things, but I'm pretty much obsessed with productivity and efficiency with my time. I've dabbled in many different time management systems that pretty much are combined and gobbled together to make a more efficient system. Currently, right now, we use the Google Calendar to plan our day-to-day. We use Todoist to do recurring tasks, and we use Notion as our content management systems for the website and for the YouTube channel, as well as a product tracker to track everything that we have in our closets, everything that's coming, and things like that as well. So a lot of systems over time, and it makes me productive. Alongside that, I really recommend you get some kind of accountability partner, some kind of friend, a family member, whatever. Do a Zoom call, check in with them every week, make goals, make sure you stick to it. Do you write code? I did dabble in programming for about 4 to 5 months, and I do have a portfolio website somewhere on the internet. On GitHub, I did JavaScript, HTML, CSS, all the front end stuff, and I did a little bit of back end with Node, but it's pretty much out of my realm. I did a lot of Python, and it was fun, but it's pretty much the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life, and I couldn't really wrap my head around a lot of it, so I stopped. In the keyboard community, people talk about an aftermarket. Where is this aftermarket? This aftermarket is called the Reddit mech market. So if you just look up mech market on Reddit, that is where the aftermarket is. Make sure you follow the rules or else your post will be deleted. Will you make a video on your desk setup? Absolutely. We moved recently and got all of our setups junk together. That will be featured in Snazz Up Your Setup with the wire management video. Alongside that, we'll probably do a studio tour and an office tour as well, eventually on the channel. And that's it for the Q&A. I don't think I missed a whole ton. I screenshotted a bunch of questions from, I don't know, that video. So I hope this answered a lot of your questions, and I don't know, this was a really honest video. I know maybe some people think if you're a full-time creator or a reviewer or whatever, that you're not honest about what you do. But personally, that's really not what we're here about at Switch and Click, either on the website or on the channel. We're about honesty, thoroughness, straightforwardness, and we don't really make blanket statements on like this is the best keyboard you can buy or things like that. There's just like how there's niches in website making and YouTube channels, there's also niches in product creation. So if a company is making a product that's not meant for a certain person, then you know it's not for you, but it's for someone. And with that in mind, I don't really try to diss too many products unless it's outright terrible. And you know, some parts of certain products are, but that doesn't make it a terrible product. It makes it a terrible product for me. So yes, we do have skin in the game. Yes, we try to keep a certain kind of reputation with all the companies that we work with. And with that being said, so far, we haven't gotten paid for any of our reviews. We have only gotten review samples. Perhaps in the future, you know, someday, we're gonna have a sponsored video, and maybe that day will come sooner than not. I don't know, but I don't know. Stick with us, right? Yeah. If you have any questions, you know, feel free to ask them down below. We try to be really honest here at Switch and Click, and with all of this newfound information about our lives and what we do for a living, I hope it doesn't make you not want to, watch the channel or support us or whatever. But yes, a lot of the links that we use are affiliate links, and we do earn a small commission from them, and that's always disclosed like everything else. But anyways, I am so thirsty and dehydrated. That's a lot of questions and a lot of answers. I'll probably edit a lot of this out anyways. I hope you enjoyed this Q&A. Perhaps we'll do one later along the lines. I know as a creator on YouTube, or as a newer creator, there's a lot of questions that we encountered during this whole growth process. And I do want to help other people get into this whole YouTube space. And there's a lot of holes. There's a lot of opportunities for pretty much anybody to do it. So, yeah. I hope this was helpful and insightful, and I'll see you.